Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome to my channel Limitless NYC, and today we're going to be talking about the costs of home ownership that people don't really talk about. So what most people will talk about is their mortgage. And first of all, what a mortgage consists of is your principal, your interest, your taxes, and your insurance. You got those four things covered, but what about everything else? So a lot of times people go into it like, oh, my mortgage is $1,000 and I'm getting $1,200 worth of rent for my rental property, so I'm good. But they're not accounting for the other expenses that come with owning a rental property or owning a home. So if you are new to the channel, my channel is about getting to financial freedom and getting to financial freedom by any means necessary. So you can see me investing in real estate, my side hustles, and everything else that it really takes for you to get to financial freedom. So if you are interested in that, make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure you hit the notification bell so you are notified every time I post a new video. So the first expense we have to talk about is water and sewer. So water and sewer is basically, your water and your sewer costs. So to put things in perspective, my house is about 2,300 square feet and it consists of 3 units. So for this 3 unit building, on a monthly basis, it costs about $125. So two quick ways for you to keep those expenses down for water is by not putting laundry machines in your units unless you really have to because your area demands it. But if your area doesn't demand it, avoid putting laundry machines. Another quick tip I can give you about saving water is make sure you put maybe some duct tape around your hose outside or the water outside, because one thing I've realized is that if you give your tenants an opportunity to take advantage, they definitely will. So make sure you do those things to help save with your water bill. The next expense that nobody talks about is your electric. So no matter what, you are going to have to pay some sort of electric bill. Even if your utilities are separate and your tenants are paying their own utilities, you still have to pay a public light bill for the common areas of your house. So always keep that into account, and that costs about maybe $50 a month max. There are other situations where you might have to worry about an electric bill. I'll give you an example. Like in my house, although there's 3 units, 2 of the units are on one electric meter. Because 2 of the units are on one electric meter, I'm actually taking care of the electric bill for both units, and I kind of price it into the rent of the unit that I am renting out. So I can tell you for those 2 units, it costs about $80 to $130 depending on the time of the year. Obviously in the summertime, the electric bill does come higher because of course AC use, and that's unavoidable and you really can't do anything about that. As far as my own unit, I don't really use that much electricity because I'm really not home much. I'm only home pretty much at nighttime to sleep, but besides that, I'm not really home much, so my electricity use is very low. I'm pretty much just paying for my tenants' electricity, but once again, I've priced it into their rent, so it doesn't really affect me much. Another expense you have to account for is your heating/gas. So for my house, I only have one boiler. So that means the gas comes as one bill. A way you can get around this is to separate the gas and get multiple boilers or a split boiler system. So you can separate the heating costs and have your tenants pay for their own heating costs. But if that's not an option for you and you only have one boiler like myself, I actually end up paying the heating cost by myself and I price it into the rent that I'm charging my tenants. So far that has worked out for me, but that may not work out for you. So explore getting multiple boilers for your units or getting a split boiler system. So if this video is bringing you some value so far, make sure you do subscribe because it really does help my channel, and make sure you hit that like button as well because that triggers the YouTube algorithm to show this video to more people just like yourself. Another cost to account for is repairs. Although you may not have repairs every month, you are eventually going to have to repair some things. Like, I'll give you an example. Myself, I didn't have any repairs for the last 5 months in my house, but this month I had maybe like $2,500 worth of expenses. I did a partial piece of my roof. I fixed my boiler multiple times. I had to change a couple of breakers. I had to change a garage door. And all of these things came up at the same time. And it wouldn't be possible for me to have paid these if I didn't set aside these repair costs. So for myself, since my margins are razor thin, I am accounting only $150 for repairs, but I also have another fund for capital expenditures, which is also another $150. So that's about $300 a month for repairs, even when I'm not actually having to do repairs. So that little fund builds up for myself. So whenever I do experience a high cost issue, I have no problem paying for it. Got my guys working hard over there. So there was some leaking to my house, so changing the front section of the roof, and this is what the rotten plywood looks like. As you can see, a lot of water damage. Not good, guys. Another expense that you should account for is vacancy. You never know when your apartment is going to go vacant. With that being said, a market like mine, I'm in New York City, and vacancy is really not an issue. Finding a tenant is really not an issue. So that's something that I am not accounting for. And also the leases that I have in place are long term. So that's an issue that I'm not accounting for at the moment. But depending on your market, you probably should account for vacancy. And for vacancy, I would say put aside $100 a month for vacancy, just in case down the line you do have a vacancy and you're not screwed because you didn't set aside some money for that potential expense. The last expense you should account for, it's last, but it's definitely not least. It is for management of the property. I manage my own property, but even though I manage my own property, I still pay myself to manage my own property. Yes, I'm not paying myself very much at all. I'm paying myself $150. But in the event that eventually I don't want to manage this property by myself, I want to have somebody else manage it, maybe a property management company manage it, I have been accounting $150 aside for it. So that's included in all my monthly operating costs. So if I ever do move out of this unit, I can rent out my own unit and have a property management take care of the management side of things. And I'm in a position where I can actually afford to pay for the management because I've been paying myself to manage the property all this time anyways. So in case I ever do want to step away, the property management can take over and I have that money accounted for anyways, so nothing is changing as far as my cash flow goes. So if you guys enjoyed this video, once again, please do subscribe, hit that like button. It really does help my channel. I appreciate you guys for watching, and until next time, Limitless NYC out.